first time in centuries, researchers have uncovered what's believed to be Jesus' tomb inside the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Chris Mitchell takes us to the heart of Jerusalem's Old City, where a major renovation is underway.
Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the most hallowed Christian shrine on earth. According to tradition, this is the very location where Jesus died and was buried.
In the heart of Jerusalem, a city brimming with history and mysteries. Among its many sacred sites, one stands out above the rest: the tomb of Jesus. Over 2,000 years ago, the bustling streets of Jerusalem were filled with pilgrims and merchants. Amidst this vibrant civilization, a momentous event took place: the crucifixion and burial of Jesus of Nazareth. For centuries, his tomb has been a symbol of faith, hope, and mystery, guarded closely by the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Few have been granted the privilege to explore its interior, but recently, a select group of archaeologists received permission to open the tomb. What they discovered inside has astonished the world and defied all logic. We are Jesus Eternal Aura. In today's video, you will have appropriate answers to all the questions above. Before you know what happened, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and click the bell icon for all the latest updates.
The historian Eusebius said he did it to cover the tomb where Jesus was buried.
After many grasp the magnitude of this discovery, we need to journey back over 2,000 years to ancient Jerusalem. Back then, the streets were teeming with pilgrims and merchants, and the city was a vibrant melting pot of cultures and religions under the rule of the Roman Empire. It was an era of hope and rebellion, of faith and conflict. In the midst of this complex and dynamic environment emerged the figure of Jesus of Nazareth, a man whose life and teachings would leave an indelible mark on human history. According to biblical accounts, Jesus was arrested, judged, and crucified under the authority of Pontius Pilate, the Roman governor of Judea. Before we dive into this exciting discovery and its profound implications, we want to extend our heartfelt thanks to all of you who support us in bringing these thrilling stories and biblical narratives to life. Let's begin with the crucifixion, a brutal method of execution reserved for the worst criminals. It was intended not only to cause a slow and painful death, but also to serve as a public warning. Yet the story of Jesus does not end on the cross. His followers, devastated upon his death, claimed his body and placed it in a new tomb carved into the rock, belonging to Joseph of Arimathea, a respected member of the Sanhedrin. However, what happened after his burial is what has captured the imagination of millions for centuries. 3 days later, it is claimed that Jesus rose from the dead, an event commemorated each year during Easter and foundational to the Christian faith. Recently, a team of archaeologists began to remove the heavy stone slab that had remained immovable for centuries, revealing secrets hidden in this ancient tomb. With precision and care, they prepared for a historic moment. Using specialized tools, they began to remove the heavy stone slab, each movement calculated, each sound amplified in the expectant silence of the place. The air was filled with tension and reverence as they knew they were on the verge of uncovering a secret that had been hidden for more than 2 millennia. Hearts beat with strength, hands trembled slightly with emotion and responsibility. It was a moment filled with history, faith, and deep curiosity. Finally, after what seemed like hours but were only minutes, the slab slid, and the entrance to the tomb was exposed. The archaeologists looked at each other, aware of the magnitude of what they were about to discover. With flashlights in hand, they took the first steps towards the interior, each one holding their breath, aware that the whole world was waiting with them for the discovery. When they finally entered the tomb, the archaeologists were speechless at what they found. The scene that unfolded before their eyes was something that no one had anticipated. The air inside the tomb was thick with the weight of the centuries. What was discovered was a collection of relics and artifacts, incredibly well preserved. In the center of the tomb, on a smooth stone, rested a set of objects that seemed taken directly from biblical stories. There were tools and utensils possibly used in rituals of the tomb, but the most impressive were the inscriptions in Aramaic, meticulously engraved on the walls, telling a story forgotten by time. The archaeologists found a small wooden box sealed and decorated with ancient symbols. When they opened it with extreme care, they revealed a set of immaculately preserved scrolls. Although initially illegible due to their age, they were surprisingly well preserved and contained texts that could rewrite entire chapters of religious history. There were also ceramic fragments with inscriptions that mentioned names and events consistent with the gospel accounts. These findings not only provide a clearer view of the funerary practices of the time, but could also contain tangible evidence of events that have been the subject of faith and debate for millennia. Each object in the tomb is being carefully studied. Experts are using the latest technology to decipher the texts and analyze the materials. This discovery not only sheds light on the past, but also raises new questions about history and religion. Preliminary results already suggest that we are facing one of the most significant finds of all time. Among the astonishing details were immaculately preserved relics, ancient inscriptions telling forgotten stories, and other artifacts that seemed out of place for the time. Each object, each detail, added a new layer of mystery and wonder. One of the most impressive finds was a set of Roman coins, perfectly aligned in a corner of the tomb. The inscriptions on the coins, although barely legible due to the passage of time, seem to coincide with the period of Jesus' crucifixion, suggesting that they could have been left there by the first followers in an act of veneration. Pieces of fabric were also found that, despite their age, still retained vestiges of their original colors. These fragments, carefully wrapped and preserved, could have been part of the shroud that covered the body of Jesus. The texture and weave of these cloths are being carefully analyzed to determine their origin and confirm their authenticity. One of the most enigmatic artifacts was a ceramic cup with inscriptions in Hebrew. This cup, similar to those used in Jewish Passover rituals, could have been used in the Last Supper of Jesus with his disciples. Although the inscriptions are fragmented, they are being studied to decipher their full meaning. Finally, the discovery of a piece of wood, possibly part of the cross on which Jesus was crucified, left everyone breathless. This piece, although small, is being analyzed with carbon dating techniques to confirm its antiquity and authenticity. If this fragment is confirmed, it could be one of the most powerful testimonies of the crucifixion. Each of these findings not only provides a clearer vision of the historical and cultural context of the time of Jesus, but also raises new questions about the intersection of history and religion. The preservation and analysis of these objects can offer us a window into one of the most significant eras of humanity. The implications of this discovery are immense, not only for historians, but also for millions of believers around the world. This finding could mean much more than we imagine. If these findings confirm biblical accounts that have been debated for centuries or reveal an even greater truth, they have the potential to change our understanding of history and faith. As experts continue to study these remarkable artifacts, we eagerly await further insights into their significance. This discovery not only illuminates the past, but also deepens the mystery surrounding one of the most pivotal moments in human history. Stay tuned as we continue to explore and reveal more about this incredible find. These relics and artifacts offer a unique opportunity to better understand the life and times of Jesus of Nazareth. For historians, the objects found in the tomb provide invaluable clues to the funerary practices of the era, shedding light on the materials used, the cultural beliefs, and the religious traditions of that time. Each artifact is a piece of the puzzle that could help build a more complete picture of this significant historical period. For believers, the implications of these findings are even deeper. The inscriptions and symbols found in the tomb could be tangible evidence of the biblical stories, strengthening the faith of millions around the world. Imagine finding an inscription that confirms the events described in the Gospels, or a relic that belonged to Jesus or one of his closest followers. Such discoveries would not only reinforce existing beliefs, but could also attract new believers, offering a renewed sense of connection to the foundational events of Christianity. However, not all experts agree on the interpretation of these findings. Some suggest that we should be cautious and not rush to draw definitive conclusions. The implications of this discovery also raise ethical and theological questions. How do we interpret these objects in the context of modern faith? What do they really mean for our understanding of history and religion? Archaeologists and theologians will continue to debate these findings for years to come, as they navigate the complex interplay between historical evidence and religious belief. What is indisputable is that this discovery has opened a new era of exploration and reflection. Never before have we been so close to connecting our present with the sacred events of the past. The preservation and careful analysis of these artifacts can offer us a window into one of the most significant eras of human history. Each day brings new insights and revelations as experts work to decode the texts and understand the full significance of the materials found. For historians, these relics are a treasure trove of information. The tools and utensils found in the tomb, for example, provide a glimpse into the daily life and rituals of the time. The materials used in these objects, whether they be stone, metal, or clay, can tell us much about the technological advancements and trade networks of the era. The cultural and religious symbols engraved on the artifacts offer clues to the beliefs and practices that shaped the lives of people living in ancient Jerusalem. The ceramic fragments with inscriptions that mention names and events consistent with the Gospel accounts are particularly intriguing. These pieces of pottery could serve as tangible evidence linking the historical Jesus to the biblical narrative. The inscriptions in Aramaic meticulously engraved on the walls of the tomb tell a story that has been forgotten by time, providing new context and understanding of the events that took place over 2 millennia ago. For believers, the implications of these discoveries are profound. The potential to find a relic that belonged to Jesus or one of his disciples is a powerful prospect. Such artifacts would not only reinforce faith, but could also serve as a focal point for pilgrimage and veneration. The discovery of a piece of wood, possibly part of the cross on which Jesus was crucified, is particularly poignant. If confirmed through carbon dating techniques, this fragment could be one of the most powerful testimonies of the crucifixion, offering a tangible link to the cornerstone event of Christian faith. Yet these findings also raise important ethical and theological questions. How should these objects be interpreted and presented to the public? What do they mean for our understanding of history and religion? The debate among archaeologists, historians, and theologians will undoubtedly continue as they work to balance the historical evidence with the religious significance of these artifacts. The discovery has also sparked discussions about the role of faith in interpreting historical evidence. Some experts caution against drawing definitive conclusions too quickly, urging a careful and measured approach to analyzing these artifacts. The potential to find inscriptions that confirm gospel accounts or relics directly linked to Jesus is exciting, but it is essential to approach these findings with a critical and scholarly perspective. This discovery has opened a new era of exploration and reflection. It has brought us closer to understanding the historical context of Jesus' life and the events described in the Gospels. Each artifact, each inscription, adds a new layer of understanding and raises new questions about the intersection of history and religion. The preservation and analysis of these objects offer a unique opportunity to connect our present with the sacred events of the past. In conclusion, this discovery is not just a milestone for historians and archaeologists, but also for millions of believers around the world. It bridges the gap between history and faith, providing tangible evidence that could strengthen religious beliefs and attract new followers. The debate over the interpretation of these findings will continue, but what is clear is that we are on the brink of a new era of exploration and understanding. As we continue to uncover and analyze these remarkable artifacts, we gain a deeper appreciation for the rich and complex history of the time of Jesus. The recent archaeological discoveries in the tomb of Jesus have provided an extraordinary glimpse into the past, offering new insights into the historical figure of Jesus and the world in which he lived. For historians, the objects found in the tomb, such as Roman coins and Aramaic inscriptions, offer invaluable clues to the funerary practices, materials used, and cultural beliefs of the era. These artifacts serve as tangible links to the historical Jesus, potentially verifying gospel accounts and enriching our understanding of the complex socio-political landscape of ancient Judea. The shroud fragments and ceramic vessels found in the tomb align with Jewish burial customs and could directly connect to the crucifixion and burial narratives. For believers, these discoveries hold profound implications, potentially strengthening faith by providing tangible evidence of biblical stories and possibly attracting new followers. However, these findings also raise important ethical and theological questions about how to interpret these artifacts within the context of modern faith. The debate among archaeologists, historians, and theologians will continue as they carefully analyze and verify these findings, balancing historical evidence with religious significance. This discovery marks a new era of exploration and reflection, bridging the gap between past and present and deepening our appreciation of the rich tapestry of human experience. As we move forward, it is crucial to approach these artifacts with reverence and responsibility, recognizing their potential to transform our understanding of history and faith. The intersection of history and faith, illuminated by these remarkable finds, offers a unique opportunity to connect with the profound spiritual heritage that shapes the lives of millions worldwide. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and leave your comments to continue exploring these stories that enrich our lives. God bless you.
Carry each other's burdens, and in this way, you will fulfill the law of Christ. It is a tangible manifestation of faith in action, where the spiritual discipline of prayer becomes a powerful force for change, advocating for peace and invoking divine protection over those caught in the crossfire of geopolitical strife. In encouraging prayer for nations like Israel amidst its conflict with Hamas, there is a recognition of the limitations of human efforts and the acknowledgement of the need for a higher power's intervention. This call to prayer is a reminder of the profound impact that collective faith-filled intercession can have on the world stage, catalyzing peace and serving as a testament to the enduring power of prayer in shaping the destinies of nations. Heavenly Father, we beseech you amidst the turmoil between Israel and Hamas, seeking your intervention for peace. Protect the innocent, guide leaders towards reconciliation, and foster dialogue among adversaries. May your peace transcend conflict, healing the wounded and comforting the bereaved. We pray for the cessation of hostilities and the triumph of peace. Lord, manifest your will, demonstrating your mercy and power. Amen. Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus, both members of the Sanhedrin, were secret believers in Jesus. Despite their initial fear and hesitation to openly follow him during his ministry, they courageously sought to honor Jesus in his death. These two men approached Pilate for Jesus' body, determined to provide him with a proper burial according to Jewish customs. They purchased a costly amount of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds, to anoint his body. Myrrh, a fragrant and sticky gum resin, was traditionally used by the Egyptians in embalming, while the Jews used it in powdered form. When mixed with aloes and aromatic sandalwood, these spices would harden and form a protective cocoon around the body. Their actions demonstrated their deep love and respect for Christ, showing a willingness to stand up for their beliefs at a crucial moment. They recognized the importance of burying Jesus honorably, rather than leaving him in a place designated for criminals and the city dump before the Sabbath, which began just 3 hours after his death. John is the only gospel writer who tells us about Nicodemus assisting Joseph with Jesus' burial. Both men, who had been secret believers until this point, felt compelled to make up for their lack of courage during Jesus' life by honoring him in death. The extravagant amount of spices they used was fitting for a king's burial, symbolizing Jesus as the King of Kings. Nicodemus brought approximately 100 liters, around 75 pounds, of perfumed ointment made from myrrh and aloes, which would have been exceedingly expensive. God the Father oversaw every detail surrounding his son's death and burial. Even in death, Jesus' burial fulfilled prophecy. Although the leaders had planned for him a common grave among the thieves, God arranged for him to be buried in a rich man's tomb. Isaiah 53:9 foretold, "He was assigned a grave with the wicked, and with the rich in his death, though he had done no violence, nor was any deceit in his mouth." Several women who had traveled with Jesus from Galilee also accompanied the burial. Luke 23:55 notes that they saw where the tomb was located, so they could return with more spices and perfumes after the Sabbath. Merrill Tenney, in his book The Reality of the Resurrection, describes the customary burial procedure. The body was washed, straightened, and then bandaged tightly from the armpits to the ankles in strips of linen about a foot wide. Aromatic spices, often of a gummy consistency, were placed between the wrapping folds, partially serving as cement, to glue the cloth wrappings into a solid covering. The body was encased, and a square piece of cloth was wrapped around the head and tied under the chin to prevent the lower jaw from sagging. Matthew records that Jesus was placed in a new tomb cut out of the rock, owned by Joseph of Arimathea. Rich men's tombs like this were large enough to stand in. Matthew also mentions that a large stone was rolled in front of the entrance to the tomb. Jewish high priests and elders then asked Pilate for a guard of 4 Roman soldiers to watch over the tomb, fearing that Jesus' disciples might steal his body and claim he had risen. To prevent any deception, the stone door was sealed. Doubters claim that Jesus did not die on the cross but merely fainted. However, this theory does not hold up to scrutiny. Jesus was pierced in the side with a spear, and blood and water, a clear sign of death, flowed out. His body was wrapped in 75 pounds of spices and sealed in a cold tomb with no food or water for 3 days, guarded by Roman soldiers. It is illogical to think he could survive this and simply walk away. Equally implausible is the idea that his enemies stole his body. They would not have wanted to allow his followers to proclaim that Jesus had risen. Matthew wrote that the Jewish leaders attempted to refute the resurrection by saying the disciples stole the body, even paying the Roman soldiers to support this claim. Matthew 28:11-15. The leaders never denied the empty tomb, implicitly admitting it was empty. The disciples had no reason to steal the body. After Jesus' death, they were overcome with sorrow and fear, hiding from persecution. Many of them later suffered and died for their faith, based on their belief in the resurrected Jesus. Why would they give their lives for what they knew to be a lie? Additionally, there were many appearances of the risen Lord Jesus over the next 40 days, including to over 500 people at once. 1 Corinthians 15:6. Critics also suggest the women went to the wrong tomb, but the guards were seen cowering on the ground. Matthew 28:4. Roman soldiers were not known to make such mistakes. The Gospel writers provide detailed accounts of these events because the resurrection is central to the Christian faith. Without the resurrection, there is no hope or life after death. The fact that many of Jesus' followers were martyred for their belief in the risen Christ speaks to their conviction. Considering the disciples' willingness to die for their faith, it is unlikely they would have done so for a lie. Their experiences after the crucifixion ignited a fervent passion to spread the gospel, despite persecution and hardship. Their testimonies and the growth of the early church underscore the transformative power of the resurrection. After reflecting on these accounts, I ask you, What will you do with this Jesus who claims to be the Son of God and the King of Kings? How will you respond to him? I encourage you to offer your own prayer to the Father, thanking him for his love. If you have never given your life wholeheartedly to him, perhaps today is the day to do so.
The Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem. This site is revered by Christians as the place where Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. The church has a complex history, having undergone multiple renovations and alterations over the centuries, which makes it a subject of fascination for historians, archaeologists, and believers alike. The main aim of the restoration project was to strengthen the edicule, a small shrine that houses the tomb of Jesus within the church. The edicule itself has been repaired and renovated numerous times since it was built in the early 19th century. Over time, the structure began to show signs of decay, including cracks in its marble walls and instability in its foundation. To ensure the preservation of this sacred site, experts carefully planned and executed a restoration. As they worked on reinforcing the edicule, the team of specialists made an unexpected and remarkable discovery. While delicately removing the marble covering from the tomb's inner chamber, they uncovered a previously sealed chamber within the tomb itself. This hidden chamber had been untouched and hidden for centuries, completely forgotten until now. The revelation astonished the archaeological community and added a new layer of mystery to the history of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It appeared that the sealed chamber had been closed off during a renovation of the edicule in 1555, a fact that had been lost over time. Although the newly discovered chamber didn't contain any human remains or significant artifacts, its presence highlighted the ever-changing nature of the church and the layers of history concealed beneath its sacred walls. Archaeologists and historians were quick to realize the significance of this discovery. It highlighted the continuous effort to uncover the mysteries surrounding the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a place steeped in centuries of religious devotion and historical changes. The purpose and importance of the sealed chamber remain topics of scholarly discussion, opening up new paths for research and exploration within this sacred site. The uncovering of the hidden chamber was a truly remarkable event connected to the history of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. It served as a reminder that, even in one of the most revered and extensively studied locations in the world, there are still secrets waiting to be revealed. This unexpected discovery sparked renewed interest in the Church's past and the ongoing quest to comprehend its intricate history. Aside from the fascinating findings within the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, the search for Jesus' burial place has expanded beyond Jerusalem. In the town of Talpio, just south of the city, lies the Talpiot tomb, which has attracted considerable attention in recent years. Discovered in 1980, this tomb complex contained 10 ossuaries, 2 of which have sparked significant debate and controversy. One ossuary has the inscription Yeshua bar Yehoseph, meaning Jesus, son of Joseph, while the other features Maria Mene Emara, which means Mary, known as the Master. Some suggest that this tomb could be where Jesus, Mary, and potentially other family members were laid to rest. However, scholars vigorously argue over the authenticity and